Okay, about to get started here. Gonna wait for a few people to jump in. Okay, it looks like audio sounded good. Oh yeah, everything's looking great. I think we are gonna start right on time here. Okay, let's get this thing going. We're all ready. Okay, and I'm ready too. Let's do it. We're live, baby. You guys see what the topic is. You know what's going on. Hello, everyone. Hi, welcome in. As you're joining in, drop your city in the chat so I can know where you guys are from. I have the chat pulled up here so can see when anybody's commenting or saying anything. But all right, let's just jump right in. Let's get this thing going. For those of you, if we haven't met yet, I'm Seth Rangel. I'm the founder of Foundational Marketing Hub. We work specifically with foundation repair and basement waterproofing companies. So everything we're going to talk about is built around this niche, this buyer, and the real world marketing problems that actually affect calls, inspections, and book jobs. And today we're talking about something a lot of contractors feel, but they don't always have a clean way to explain. Why do some companies keep showing up stronger on Google, even though other companies feel like they're doing plenty of SEO? A lot of time the answer is not just more pages, more blogs, or more marketing activity. It kind of comes down to what Google actually trusts. And that's what we're going to break down today. We're actually going to talk about backlinks, citations, local authority, and off-page trust signals that help Google feel more confident in showing your business to homeowners who are ready to act. And more importantly, we're going to connect all that back to what matters the most, which is more visibility, more calls, and more booked inspections, which leads to more revenue. So let's jump right in here. Okay, so why does this matter? Before we get tactical, I want to frame this in some business terms because citations, backlinks, and authority signals can sound like SEO jargon. And if you're not careful, it kind of can get kind of confusing. But in real life, this is what it actually looks like. Weak trust signals usually lead to weaker visibility. Weaker visibility leads to fewer clicks. Fewer clicks leads to fewer calls. Fewer calls leads to fewer booked inspections. So this is not really a side topic, and this is not the extra credit. This is the part of the revenue path. And if Google's less confident in your business than it is with your competitors, that affects how often you show up and how strongly you show up and how often homeowners actually land on your brand when they're searching for you. And that means that there's a trust layer behind your stability, and it's not just an SEO issue. It's a lead flow issue. It's a sales opportunity issue. It's a growth issue. So this is probably where the biggest mind shift of this whole webinar will start, is that a whole lot of contractors think that they have more of an SEO problem, which means, more content, more pages, more blog posts, more activities. But for a lot of companies, this is not actually the core of the issue. The issue is that this trust system underneath the marketing is weak. Maybe the citations are messy. Maybe the authority signals are weak, or maybe the service area alignment is thin. Maybe the reviews are inconsistent. Maybe the website does not reinforce trust well enough. So the problem's not always that you're not doing enough. A lot of the time, the problem is that the trust system is leaking. And when that happens, more activity doesn't always fix it. You have to strengthen that system that Google's using to judge whether or not your business is or deserves to show up. So what is that Google actually connecting here? One of the easiest ways to understand this is to stop thinking about Google as looking for one magical signal. it's basically connecting a stack of signals. I feel like if we just kind of break them into four buckets here, it's a little easier. So the first would be just legitimacy. Is the real business in a real market with a real identity? The second is relevance. Does this business clearly match the services and locations that are being searched? Third is authority. Do other trusted sources across the web reinforce this company? And the fourth is proof. Do we see signs that the company's active, credible, reviewed, visible, and real? That is the framework for the whole rest of this webinar. Everything that we talk about, it's going to be citations, backlinks, local authorities, review, those trust leaks. They all fit into either one or more of these buckets here. Citations. What do they actually do? Let's just start with them. A lot of people treat citations like it's a quantity game. More listings, more directories, more submissions. But citations, what they're really doing is confirming trust. They help Google validate your business across the web with your name, your address, your phone number, your website, your core business identity. This is not something that's just kind of random about directory volume. It is whether or not your business kind of just looks stable, it looks consistent, and in the places that Google expects to find that kind of information. For local contractors, for instance, this matters a lot. Citations help Google confirm that you're an actual business serving that actual market, and that your detail line in that actually feels like it's trustworthy. So the citation leaks that we see kind of all the time, this is kind of where things are getting a little more practical. These are some of the more common citation leaks we see all the time with contractor accounts. Either it's old phone numbers, old addresses, you'll have duplicate listings of maybe past, offices that you've had, incomplete profiles, or different versions of the company name. Maybe one has LLC and the other one doesn't. And these may all seem kind of small, but when you zoom out, they kind of create a messy trust footprint. And what Google's trying to do is they're trying to connect these signals. And if the identity keeps shifting, that confidence actually becomes more weakened. And in home services, this happens constantly. You may have old tracking numbers kind of just floating around there, or an old office branch location phone number, or maybe a short version of the company name in one place and a full version somewhere else. Half-finished profiles that were never really cleaned up. This is exactly the kind of stuff that weakens the trust system without the business owner always realizing. It kind of can slip through the crack in that way. So, how to find citation opportunities from your competitors. One of the easiest ways to find citation opportunities is to just stop guessing and just start with the businesses that are already showing up in your market. So let's say on this example here, we search foundation repair in St. Louis, and you look at one of the top visible companies like Foundation Recovery Systems, we can see on there. And then we search their brand name. And while excluding their own website, you just want to look at what's showing up. So we don't want to look at their website. We're just looking at the third-party places where they're actually mentioned. These things can surface up as things like Yelp or Facebook or Chamber of Commerce listings, LinkedIn, other things we see here, YouTube, any other business profiles, or any other authority sources. And that's going to give you a real practical question to ask here. First thing you want to ask is, are they listed here? And if so, are we listed here too? And that's kind of how you start building a missing source list. You don't just guess, not by just grabbing random directories that may not be the most important ones. It's by reverse engineering that trust footprint of visibility that your competitors have in that market. Because let's face it, they're already up in the first page of Google here. So if we can figure out the kind of backlinks they had, this is kind of going to help us figure out what kind of backlinks do we want, what kind of directories that we want to show up, what kind of citation listings do we want to have that's pointing back to our website is the same as ones that all the other competitors have that are making it to page one. So that's kind of where we want to take a look at this. Now there's two ways to build citations, and we're going to look at exactly, both ways of doing this. There's two paths here, really. It's just one is the first path is the DIY. It's the do-it-yourself path. That means you claim the core listings yourself, you clean up your business info, you fix any inconsistencies, you remove any duplicates, and you just manually submit to local relevant niche sources. And that works, but it takes time, but it works. The second path is either a paid or an assisted path. That means you're delegating that cleanup using either a team member, using a vendor, or using a tool like Bright Local to make that process just faster and a little more organized. And honestly, this is where a lot of contractors just get stuck, not because they don't care about citations, but because they're not always sure about what to standardize first, which opportunities are actually worth chasing, or even how to organize that work once they start it, because it can get kind of confusing when you have a lot of citations, all different passwords and all that. So as we go through this today, I just want to let you know I put together a practical DIY prompt pack that can kind of help you with all of that exactly. It's meant to take what we're talking about here and make it just really easy to apply in the real world, especially if you're doing this in-house or even with a small team. So if that sounds useful, just stay with me here, because I'm going to show you where all that kind of fits into this process as we go along. And at the end, we'll make sure that you guys get that as well. So before we keep going, I do want to mention that resource a little bit more, because it kind of goes along with this webinar. It's the DIY prompt pack for backlinks, citations, and local authority. And I put this together because a lot of contractors understand the concepts once they actually hear them, but they kind of get stuck when it comes time to actually execute it. So this resource is just designed to help bridge that gap and give you just prompts, search angles, and practical starting points that you can actually use to begin this cleaning up of your citations, finding authority sources, and organizing that off-page work just a little more strategically. So just keep that in mind as we're moving forward here, because it's going to make it a whole lot easier about what we're talking about today, so we can actually apply it with just relative ease and not having to think about this too much. So backlinks, what do they actually, how do they actually help contractors? The biggest mistake a lot of contractors make here is treating backlinks like they're all equal, and they're just not. The best backlinks for contractor businesses usually reinforce relevance, not just volume. That means local relevance, industry relevance, business credibility. Good examples might include like a local organization, Chamber of Commerce, local media, supplier pages, manufacturer pages, association pages, sponsorships, partnership pages, and other just real world trusted sources. And for this niche specifically, you can also include groups like the National Foundation Repair Association, which is something that we're a part of, or the Basement and Waterproofing Association, or concrete repair organizations, local builder associations, and waterproofing products. What doesn't help is actually just a bunch of random link volume that kind of looks good in a report, but actually has no real connection to the niche or your city or your business. And there's a lot of those out there that you got to be aware of. So the goal here is just not backlinks for the sake of a backlink. The goal is authority that actually makes sense for foundation repair and basement waterproofing companies. How do we find these backlink opportunities? This is a good question. When it comes to backlink opportunities, this process is actually very similar. It starts with the type of searches that you want to win in. You just got to look at the sources that are already showing up around those searches. You want to look at sites that are already recommending listings or featuring your business in your category. Then you want to take a look at the direct competitors that target that list. And your best opportunities usually come from non-competing trusted sources around the market. And that might be like the Chamber of Commerce or local publication. Like I said before, a local supplier manufacturing pages, these are all local, like even a partnership pages, partnerships around your area that are kind of just niche relevant to the location that you're in. You can find sponsorships this way as well. Everything you want to kind of have a local twist to it. And you definitely want to find, the big idea that I want to try to convey here is that backlink research You want to find just this pattern recognition of what your competitors are doing. You're looking for these real world sites that kind of already shape that trust in your market, specifically local. So that's where this DIY prompt pack actually becomes more useful, because once you start seeing these opportunities with these different searches, the next question is going to go, okay, well, what do I do? Or how do I actually reach out to these places? Because some of them you will have to reach out to. So inside this prompt pack, I actually already include ready-made prompts for finding the citations, the backlinks, and local authority opportunities, and messaging them. And I also include different templates for different situations, like if it's a local or a niche listing, or maybe if it's a vendor or a partnership feature, local collaboration, or other ways just to ask for a relevant mention or placement without starting from scratch. So if you want to help turning that research into an actual list of opportunities in outreach messages, just download that DIY prompt pack after this webinar. It's going to help you identify all the right sources. It'll help you filter out all the junk opportunities and help you start reaching out with templates built specifically for foundation repair and waterproofing companies. Next is backlinks, DIY versus paid. Just like citations, backlinks usually fall into two practical paths. The first is the DIY or the relationship-based path. That means you're just asking vendors for listings or partnership mentions, or requesting suppliers or manufacturer profile pages, like building those pages out yourself, leveraging sponsorships, or getting involved in community events, pursuing local association listings. Those are good too. Submitting testimonials, or customer stories. Those are good ones as well. Getting featured on a local or a partnership page, like even like your local news. That's a really good one there. And then there's the paid path, and that might include paid local sponsorships, or featured listings, niche edits on relevant pages, sponsorship placements, or local PR support. These kind of things actually help. And the important thing here is that even if we're going the paid route, you still want it to be relevant and credible. And the goal is just not to buy whatever's out there for whatever, a metric that's attached to it. The goal is that you want to make sure that the earning placement that you will actually get from that will strengthen the trust in the way that you want. So not every signal of trust is going to be the kind of signal that we want to build that strength. We want to definitely focus in on the niche type ones first, and then move a little bit broader after that. So why does the weaker company sometimes show up stronger? This is one of the most frustrating things about what a lot of contractors will actually deal with. Why does the weaker company sometimes show up in places where they don't? And a lot of times it's not because they're the actual better company. It's because they have a cleaner trust footprint. Either their listings are cleaner, their reviews are more visible, their service area signals are just a little more clear, or their local authority is stronger, or their proof is easier for Google to see. So even if your company is better operationally, you can still lose visibility if your trust layer is weak or messier. That's why this stuff kind of just matters a lot. It explains those ranking gaps that otherwise just feel random, and they're not so random. There's actually an algorithm behind it that's feeding Google information to kind of help you out, or to help the user out figure out which sources should be placed up front. So that's a little bit something to kind of think about there too. So off-page trust cannot save a weak website. This is just always true. I want to balance this out because the off-page trust, it does matter, but it can't fully save a weak website. If your pages are weak, if your service copy is vague, if your city alignment is poor, if your conversion paths of what to do next are weak, those citation and backlinks alone will just not fix all of that. The strongest growth happens when that full system works together. I'm talking your website, your local SEO, your authority signals, your review, your proof, your follow-up. That is why we always come back to the system view of things. Trust signals actually matter, and they work best when the website underneath them is ready to convert that attention. So it's really good to keep that in mind. I always refer back to the website because it is like your hub of all of your digital marketing. It is literally your digital marketing billboard online. and you can you think of traffic as like, what is most people are actually seeing. So it's usually your first interaction with a lot of people too is through your website. That's why I always refer back to it. It's super important. A lot of people miss that. The next is the trust leaks that we kind of see all the time. So if you want just a simple summary version of this webinar, it's really just this slide. These are the just 5 weak trust leaks that we see all the time. It's messy citations, irrelevant backlinks, a weak review system, thin website alignment, and weak service area signals. And most contractors we talk to have at least 1 or 2 of these leaks of trust right now. Some have all 5. And this is the kind of pattern recognition that actually matters, because once you see this leak a little more clear, you can stop just throwing a bunch of marketing effort kind of at the wrong problem. It kind of helps you define exactly what's actually the crack in this whole foundation and helps you patch that up so you can actually have more success of building that trust with Google. So the next is just this contractor trust audit scorecard, and this is just help to make it practical. I want you to just quickly score yourself from 1 to 5 across these 5 categories here, which is citations, backlinks, reviews, proof, and your website alignment. I'll give you a minute here to just kind of just give you an idea of where you think you land on a lot of these. And you don't have to overthink it here. It's just to be honest, where are you weakest at right now? Is it maybe citations? Maybe it's the backlinks. Where are you the strongest right now? Is it maybe your reviews are really strong, or maybe you have some website alignment? What category is probably holding you back the most? Because once you know what that is, you'll have a much better shot at fixing this thing first. And that's exactly why I created this DIY prompt pack for the webinar. Just so you'll actually have this and you'll know where to go. So you don't have to leave this session with just a bunch of theory crafting here only. You'll actually know how to turn these weak spots into actual plans that you can follow up and have real results. So what do we fix first? If you're wondering where to start, here's the order I usually recommend. First, it's just to clean up with your NAP consistency. That means that your business needs to identify and line up clearly across the web. And that's including your name, your address, and your phone number, if you don't know what the NAP stands for. And then the second would be just to clean up that core directory layer. Fix the obvious citation problems first. That might be your Yelp or your Home Advisor or your BBB, for instance. The third would be tightening up your review system. This is just incredibly important, and it becomes more and more important every single year. It's not just the reviews that exist now, but it's the reviews that are showing up consistently, and it's reinforcing that trust. And this is super important, especially nowadays with the new large language models algorithms and how the AI actually ranks websites. So if people are using ChatGPT now, how a big part of how those LLMs work is that they're looking at reviews and they're reading those and seeing what actual people are saying. So it's really important not only to get the reviews, but making sure that you have the people that are leaving you reviews mention things like where they were located, what the services they were getting performed, having your name in there, maybe the representative that was helping them. It's actually becoming way more important to put more important information into those reviews. That's why tightening up that review system, that's what I mean by tightening it up. We talked about this on our last webinar. It's just incredibly important how much reviews are going to play a factor moving forward. So the fourth, let's jump into that, or I'll just keep talking about reviews forever. Fourth is just, like it says on here, better authority sources. That means like your local and your niche trusted signals. That's actually what helps move the needle, especially locally. So it's definitely important to find what those trusted sources are and start either reaching out to them using our DIY citations lead that we're going to be giving you guys here after that. It's going to be super important as well. The next is, the fifth one is just to make sure that your website and service area alignment support everything that we just talked about. This is why I build all these resources the way that I do, is that most contractors, they don't need just a bunch of theory. They need actual practical steps on what to fix first and how to research opportunities, which is a big one, what to ignore, and how to prioritize the easiest wins here. And that's what this will help. Okay, this is the important part. This is what a lot of people usually stay to or just rewind to. So if you did, make sure you watch the rest of the webinar because it's going to show you how to actually use this. This is actually the most important part here. Is this actually produces the more practical resource that kind of goes with this webinar, and that's kind of how I make a lot of these, is that they're built for specifically for foundation repair and basement waterproofing, crawl space, slab repair, drainage contractors. Inside it, I give you niche-specific AI prompts filtered for things that are worth pursuing and the ones that are not. So we just kind of show you the ones that actually work. It also gives you research ideas. It helps you. It gives you vendor and partnership opportunity prompts. It gives you outreach templates, which are really important, and gives you a seven-day DIY authority sprint, so you know what to do day by day. That means that this is actually there to help you and apply everything that we talked about today in real life. So if you want it, just go ahead and download that prompt pack. You scan that QR code, and it's a downloadable link, and you just download it, and it's a PDF, and you can just go through it at that point. This is available to everyone for free, through the webinar. You don't have to opt into anything. It's just a straight download. After this webinar gets taken down, it will turn into, you'll have to give me your name and email in order for me to send it over to you. But we like to reward people that show up on these webinar live. So, for the, on the actual live webinar, go straight to the download. You don't even need to give me anything. I'm just giving this out to you guys because I care. So feel free, go ahead, scan that to download it, get this, start implementing this DIY prompt pack for these backlinks, for these citations, and figuring out a nice plan so you can figure out how to gain more local authority in your niche and your location. And the last is just saying thank you, guys. I want to, to all those who, wanted help applying this and they want to actually see how this can work for their business. You can just scan that QR code at the bottom left there and book your free discovery call. This prompt pack's great if you kind of want to work through this by yourself or maybe with your team. But if you want help like diagnosing this or just figuring out where your trust system might be leaking, maybe prioritizing the right fixes, or just tightening up that visibility to lead system and building your rankings, that's exactly what we do. So if that sounds like the correct next step for you, book a discovery call. It's a no obligation discovery call, and we talk about your business, what your goals are, go through some of these issues here, and come up with a plan. And we figure out what's holding you back, and maybe where the gaps are, and then the right order of the operations in which you should handle this. If it feels like a good fit, we can move forward after that. But other than that, we're just here to try to help you guys succeed in this niche and in this market. So go ahead and scan that. Also, we do have the next month's webinar, which is how to turn job site videos into more inspections and book jobs. You can go ahead and register for that webinar. We post one of these every single month. It's on the second Tuesday at 2 p.m. every single month. So feel free to go ahead and jump into the webinar registration there, so we can see you on there, and you don't miss out when we have all this training. We generally just give out a bunch of goodies for people, a bunch of free stuff to try to get you guys moving in the right direction based off of all the research that we're taking in and figuring out. And like I said, with this particular resource that we're giving you guys today, it's going to help you organize your citation cleanup. It'll help you identify the best local and niche authority sources and help you send out a few outreach messages without overcomplicating this whole thing. So again, if you want to apply this to your company or in your market and you want to see how we could do that for you, go ahead and book a discovery call. If you are feeling like you have some weak trust signals and you need help on what to fix first, go ahead and download the resource. Or if you want to stick around for, get notified whenever next month webinar hits about creating more job site videos and turning those into booked inspections and booked jobs, go ahead and scan that QR code and register for the next webinar. Other than that, I want to thank you guys for staying with me for this entire webinar. And if you didn't, you're watching this on replay, make sure you give this video a like. Comment down below if you have any questions about any of this, or if you want to tell me about maybe one of the applications you used with this resource. Maybe you sent out an outreach message and it worked. I'd love to hear from you. I personally answer every single comment. I read through all of them, and I'll be responding them to all the comments as well. So I'd love to engage with you. Let's start the conversation in the comments and get that going. And if you have any other questions, let's post them in there. Other than that, I appreciate your time greatly. Thank you guys for watching this all the way through.